family of 5 living in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house for almost 4 years. Yeah, that's mine and my family's reality. I am going to share with you why we made this decision, the pros and cons, and what our next move is. Hey everyone, I'm Sami from A Sunny Side Up Life, and in today's video, I am going into all of the details of my family's living situation, why we decided to make this radical change, what it has actually been like, and what we are planning to do next. First of all, let me give you a little bit of a backstory. About 6 years ago or so, my family and I started on our debt-free journey. In the beginning, we were in almost $500,000 worth of debt. And as you can imagine, one of those biggest debts was our house. And at the time, we were living in a 3,200 square foot house. It was beautiful. And actually, my parents had built it to be their forever home. And after my dad passed away from cancer, we took over the house to keep it in the family. Long story short, it was way more than we could maintain. It was pretty expensive and way too big. So as we got about 2 or 3 years into our debt-free journey, we decided that we were going to sell the house and we were going to drastically downsize, because during our debt-free journey, we had also adopted minimalism. So we thought, 2 birds with 1 stone, we'll get rid of a whole bunch of debt and we're going to be able to downsize. So that's what we did. We sold our house, which was our last debt, and we became 100% debt free. So let's talk about the pros. The first pro, of course, was the money saving. So we used to pay $1,400 a month for our mortgage. We paid about $100 or so in insurance, and we paid about $3,000 a year in property taxes, totaling around $1,800 a month. Now we pay $600 a month in rent. We pay $100 a month for a storage building because we don't have a garage. We pay only $28 a month for renter's insurance. So our total is about $728 a month. Not to mention that our electric bill is extremely lower. We have no maintenance costs, and we now live actually in the city limits, where before we were about a 15-minute drive from town, which saves us a tremendous amount on gas. Disclaimer here, if you think that these living prices are extremely cheap, they are. That's because we basically live in the middle of nowhere in East Texas. So adapt and adjust these numbers, compare them for yourself if you are thinking about making this big change. Obviously, these results are not for everyone and will not fit in every single city based on your cost of living. The second pro was the freedom from the responsibility. Keeping up with a 3,200 square foot house as well as over 3 acres worth of land was a huge responsibility, and it was way more than we were able to afford to do or we had the time to do, especially when our kids were so little. So moving to this tiny house, it takes us less than an hour to clean up every night. The yard is super tiny and requires very little maintenance. And obviously we aren't responsible for any of the maintenance, upkeep type stuff for the actual house itself. Number 3, and probably my favorite pro, is that it gave us our time and our energy back. Now we have so much more time to focus on the things that are truly important in life, like spending time with our family, our hobbies, resting on our days off, and I've had much more time and energy to be able to grow my business, which is why we're here now. But like with anything, there of course are cons. The first con is obviously the space. And at first this wasn't as much of an issue because our youngest daughter was only 1 at the time. She was in a toddler bed and the girls had plenty of space in their room because the older 2 were in bunk beds. And then of course, as she grew, she needed a twin size bed, which still fits, but it's starting to get a little tight, as you can imagine. Another size issue is that my little office corner is actually just one of the corners of our bedroom, which gets a little cramped. Then there are a few nitpicky amenities that we don't have. Like we only have 1 bathroom. We don't have a dishwasher. We don't have central air and heat. Little things like that. They're not life-altering, and obviously we've lived 4 years without them, but it's one of the small cons. Another thing is that to be able to have this cheap of rent, we're not necessarily in the best neighborhood. It's perfectly safe, but all the houses are older and we literally live right behind a restaurant. So the view from our front porch is a dumpster in a parking lot. But as you can imagine, the pros have way outweighed the cons, and overall, we've been really happy here for the past 4 years. So what is our next move? About a year ago, we bought 18 acres of land. Since our rent is so cheap, we're able to pay our rent and pay the land note at the same time until we could save even more money for a construction loan down payment. Now we are a couple months away from starting the construction on our dream house. But this time we're taking it slow, we're doing it right, and we're actually building a medium-sized house. We're not going to get really carried away. We definitely don't need over 3,000 square feet or anything like that. We're going to be a lot more intentional and give it a lot more forethought by thinking, hey, if we're going back into debt this time, we're going to do it right. We're going to really pay attention to what we are doing. We're going to make sure that our house and our land align with our values, and we're going to do sinking funds for our maintenance and upkeep on our house from the get-go so things never get too far out of hand. So our biggest takeaways from the past 4 years is that we actually don't need near as much space as we originally thought we did when we first had our kids. That in fact, being closer together in a smaller space encourages much more togetherness, much more quality family time, and overall, it's been pretty fun to live this small. Another huge takeaway is obviously the financial benefit that it has allowed. It has allowed us to cash flow a truck for my husband, a camper, and we upgraded our old boat to a new boat, and we were able to cash flow that as well. But the most important takeaway, and the one that I really want to pass along to you guys, is that this journey has proved to us that we are in control of our own lives, that we get to choose our destiny. It has been extremely empowering to realize that we are able to switch up the trajectory of our life at any moment. We were buried in debt, our house was too big, overall we were just unhappy, and it was putting a strain on our marriage and our family life. That feeling, that's what I want to pass along to you guys. No matter where you are on your journey, no matter what your future or your past looks like, if you're not happy with your present, you can change things. It also proved to us that the most important things in life are each other, and that we could be happy and we could thrive no matter where we live. Going into this project with building our new house, it has kind of humbled us a lot because we're like, we don't need the top of the line this and that. We don't need the biggest square footage. Really, we need the bare necessities.
Plus a dishwasher.
That's it. That's all. So if you are considering living small, downsizing, or even just switching up your family situation in whatever way that looks like for you, I hope that this video is encouraging and inspiring to you to remember that if you're not happy with where you currently are, change things, that you can do it. All right, that is all for me this week. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye, guys.